Hi, Mick McQuaid here to talk to you about UX prototyping and in particular design principles. This is our second week of class, and of course it's been canceled because of a snow day, so I'm coming to you by video. So I'd like to first review what we did with design thinking last time. We did a lot of really good work, so I've reviewed all of your submissions. They look really great. I would like to ask a few things. One is please export your HEIC files to PNG or JPEG so that Canvas understands them. And please export PDFs in such a way that Canvas displays them properly. Just look at how it's displayed after you upload it if you can. And I think two of you will see that your PDFs display strangely. Okay, and I'll go over that next week in class also, because you're going to continue to do that in the sketching exercises. Okay, and the sketching exercise was terrific, or the sketching in this exercise was terrific. So please keep it up because sketching is so important. And the organization of the presentations was mostly really good. I really appreciated that very much. There were a lot of good app ideas too that you could actually follow up on. And one person included some follow-up thoughts, which was great, and that's very important. Those were like lessons learned from the thing. I think I asked you to put that in your sketchbook, but most people didn't put it in the Canvas submission. Okay, now in terms of your groups, you've formed groups, but I would like one person from either UXers or software designers, or both, one from each, to switch to Pink Pony Club because there are only 2 people in Pink Pony Club, and there's too much work in the projects for 2 people. In fact, it would be actually ideal if one person from each of those 2 groups would switch, so we would have mostly groups of 4. I think we would have one group of 5. And sometimes groups of 5 do have communication problems, so I'll be monitoring that group of 5 for that. If no one switches before milestone 1 is due, I'll just randomly choose people to assign, so be warned, you should make your own choice rather than leaving it to me. Okay, so today we're going to talk about design principles, and I want you to familiarize yourself with 4 sets of design principles: Apple's, Google's, Microsoft's. Actually, Microsoft has 2. And of course, there are many other design principles. Samsung has them, lots of people have them, but I just want to explore here the 4 most prominent ones. And I would like you to use any one or any combination of these guidelines in developing your prototypes in this class. So we're going to look at their websites, and their websites are always changing, so I don't want to make slides out of them. Instead, I want you to Google the above names. And before you do that, I just want you to keep in mind that these are things to look for. So look for things like foundations, principles, and getting started on the first 3 sites. The inclusive design site is actually organized a little bit differently. And look for differences in emphasis and word choice between the 3 companies. They very intentionally say things that are very similar yet slightly different from each other. And I want you to reflect on why they may differ and how they may differ. And I'd like you to pick 2 things, such as accessibility and typography, that are represented on every site and see how their presentations differ. And there are a few, sort of universals. Accessibility and typography are just 2 of them. You can go to other things as well. So I'm going to open a new tab here, and I'm going to first do Apple. Human Interface Guidelines is what they call it. And it's the first thing that comes up, and I particularly want you to look at foundations. Getting started is kind of interesting, but it's about designing for specific platforms, and so it's not as important to you universally as things like accessibility, color, layout, motion, and typography. Those are probably the most important things. So I want you to look at those sections on this website. The second one is material design, And I guess I'll go material 3. Material 3 is, I think, the current one. It says on the site that it's the latest, but I actually haven't been keeping up with it lately, so I don't know. This was summer of 2024, so that's pretty recent. And it's got lots of interesting stuff on it here, updates, resources, and I think getting started is the thing that I want you to look at. UX foundations, and these foundations are what's most important. So accessibility, again, is critical. Layout, critical. So the way they've organized this has changed since the last time I was here. But take a look at all of these foundations. Let's see what happens under. Okay, so here's color at last. Custom color schemes. Yeah, so look at each one of these under foundations. I think that's very important. And then there's I think Fluent Design is the most contemporary Microsoft system. Let's see if it's been superseded. Microsoft actually has kept a lot of its older systems stretching back to the 90s on the web. At least the last time I looked, you could find really old stuff. Now these are the key words. Okay, yeah, so these are the key words here. Natural on every platform, built for focus, one for all for one, and unmistakably Microsoft. Those are really critical terms that differ from the similar branding on Apple's Human Interface Guidelines and Google's Material Design. And then, of course, I want you to look at color, layout, motion, and typography. So go to all of these and try to get a sense of how different the different design guidelines are. And then, of course, inclusive design. It's not coming up as a Microsoft thing. There we go, Microsoft inclusive design. Okay. So this is organized a little bit differently from the other three. And let's see if they've got their new. Oh, okay, here we go. It's all on this page. Yeah, so this is a really good PDF on doing inclusive design. Okay, I think this is the old picture, if I'm not mistaken. Many diverse peoples with different attire, some with visible disabilities. They had an old picture of this and then they updated it. Or they didn't update it, somebody else did, but I think that I suspected that they adopted the updated one. But in any event, these PDFs are really valuable. And so open those up, take a look at them. They're pretty, I think that the inclusive design site is more timeless than the Fluent Design site. So of the two, I think this is the more important one. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. So I want you to fully immerse yourself in each of these four design guidelines, and feel free to look at other ones like Samsung's. I think Salesforce has one. Salesforce had the first design system. So there are a bunch that have design systems that reflect design principles. So think about how these, in particular, the first three differ, and go through. Oops, I misspelled accessibility, didn't I? I didn't notice that. Pick two, like accessibility, typography, color, layout, motion, some of these really basic ones, and see how their presentations differ. Okay, and then I also want you to create a website that will be used for the entire semester. So you can use Framer to do that, and we'll talk about Framer in a minute. You could use GitHub Pages, or you could use any other system. So WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, anything. I always get questions about this, like, is such and such a thing acceptable? And this word is any. So whatever you can use to create a website is fine with me. It just has to be a real website that I can, you can provide me a URL and I can visit the website. And I want there to be 7 pages on the website. I guess there should be an introductory page plus 7 web pages, one for each milestone. So you have 7 milestones. So you might have an introductory page that just lists the 7 milestones on it. But we just need milestone 1 right now. And the page for milestone 1 should contain your report or a link to it. Now, if you can't get around to making a website by Friday, what you can do, or not, is it not Friday, it's Monday is the deadline. What am I saying? It's the 27th, right? Let me just check on that because I know there'll be questions about it. Friday, the sketches are due. Monday is when the accessibility report is due. Now, if you can't get around to making the website by then just deposit a PDF to the assignment box. But you'd better have it done by milestone 2, and it would be nice for you to have it done by milestone 1. Okay, so we would like to do a Framer tutorial, but we're not in class now. We can't do a Framer tutorial. So instead, what I'm going to ask you to do is use Framer's own fundamentals course. So go to framer.com and navigate to Resources Academy Framer Fundamentals, or go to the direct URL. And if you have this presentation, which is on my website, let me get out of full screen mode so you can see it. It's mickmcquaid.com. And then you just go to the UX Proto page and then the O2 Design Principles page from there. And you'll see this presentation, and you can just click on this and go directly to the fundamentals. Or just type in your browser framer.com and go to Resources, then Academy, and then Framer Fundamentals. And you can just do the first few screencasts. That should be enough for this course. I'm not requiring you to do Framer. You can do the whole course in Framer because Framer has a lot of the same tools as Figma. So you could do all your prototypes in Framer if you wanted to, but I'm not requiring that. In fact, I'm also not requiring Figma. You can do what you want, but we're going to study Figma more in this class than we're going to study Framer. So, you'll have some tutorials on Figma, things like components and design systems and whatnot. We'll do those in Figma. We'll do those in class in Figma. So you may want to do more prototypes in Figma. That seems to be the flavor of the month for the last few years. And nobody has appeared on the horizon to shake Figma. But if you want to use XD or some other tool, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to be looking at your prototypes. And this course, this Framer's Fundamental course, is not complete. So there are a bunch of in fact, let's actually go there. You'll need to open it in a new window. Okay, so how do I do that? I'm totally at a loss for what's going on here. Let's go back to slide 4 if we can. Okay, let's just go to mcmcquaid.com. Well, I can do that. And then where am I? UX prototyping, design principles. Okay, so I guess don't click on that. I'm going to have to investigate that. Oh, you know what? I bet it's the way I made this link. So you could right click on this and say open link in new tab, and I bet it'll open. Yeah, it does. Okay. So this is, and I'm not going to sign in here. I have a Framer account, but I'm not going to sign into it. And by the way, the Framer can be used for free. You can upgrade and have more websites. So for example, for the free thing, you can just have one website. You can have 2 if you pay $5 a month. You can have, etc., 1,000 pages if you pay more, and so on. But for this course, it'll be enough to be free, and I only need one website per group. So actually, you know, several of your members won't have used up their free page. Okay, so where am I? Okay, here we go. So yeah, the first few screencasts should be sufficient. The course isn't complete, but you just need a Framer website as a container. And the 2 things I expect you to put in there are most likely Figma prototypes and PDFs. So your first assignment will be in a PDF, and you'll just put that in the Framer website. And most of your other things are just going to be Figma prototypes, and you'll just put those in the, Framer has a special way of connecting to Figma prototypes. Now, and as I say, you don't have to do Figma prototypes. You could do XD, you could do Framer, you could do something else. It doesn't matter to me, but that's just what the majority of people do in this class. And of course, I say again, you're free to use a different website builder. I'd like you to learn Framer, but you can use a different one if you want. And then after you do that, I'd like you to do a Figma tutorial. So again, we're stuck with class being canceled. We can't do this in person. So the Figma tutorial is just going to be to go to help.figma.com and navigate to Figma for Beginners, which is near the bottom of the page. And there you'll find 4 beginner lessons, and I'd like you to try to do all 4. And even if you're advanced in Figma, it may help to at least skim the lessons to pick up things that you might have missed or forgotten. So please try to do those in any event. And then the other tool on Figma that you're very likely to use, some people use Miro, that's M-I-R-O, but many people use, the majority of people I would say use FigJam. So if you visit, again, help.figma.com, and from the top menu, navigate to Product Documentation, FigJam, Tour the Interface, Guide to FigJam. That guide to FigJam is pretty extensive, probably more than you need to get going, but it will be useful for a lot of things. So you can collaborate with your team, and the more that you do of the Guide to FigJam page, the more extensively you're going to be able to use FigJam to collaborate, because it has a lot of features that you may not know about. Okay, so that's the end of that, and I'll be available on Zoom all day today, and presumably at other times. So feel free to contact me during the week to make sure you get your sketches done by Friday and your milestone done by Monday. And I'll see you hopefully next week.